Right. Sunset Ridge Park. This is Champaign, Illinois, as the dual city, the twin city of Champaign-Urbana. You might have heard of Champaign-Urbana, Illinois. This is 2.5 hours or so south of the city of Chicago. And here we have lots of skill space. This is there's a skate park that I haven't been to, so we'll find it. But this is a nice little hill, and this could be something. I think they did like a recent kind of cutting of the grass, so you have like this kind of grassy mulch that comes up. But yeah, it's lots of space out here. I mean, that's one thing. So sometimes you get these parks that are. So this is kind of like a suburban kind of development kind of thing where they they do these things where they someone buys up the land and then they build the next like subdivision. It's a good word for these kind of things. They just keep subdividing. And this is the current one that is like all the way out from the main part of town, and it's closer to the edge of town where you get out into the farms, because that's what you have out here. Well, it's open dawn to dusk, and so there's a tennis court. Looks like over there, maybe pickle. I'm not sure. Sunset Ridge Park, dedicated residents Champaign by the Champaign Park District, September 20th, 2012. So it's a dedication to the residents of Champaign. Very nice. You've got your sort of prairie grass. This is Illinois, I think, is the prairie state, or at least one of them, but it's like the prairie state. So this idea of prairie is interesting because the Europeans have basically plowed under most of it, and there's not much left. There's just a little bit here and there. There's a prairie museum in Mahomet, which is the town, Mahomet, Mahomet, Illinois. It's a town in just northwest of Champaign-Urbana. They have a whole prairie museum, and I've never been there. But so the thing is that whenever you see grass, that's not prairie, and cornfields and stuff, that's not prairie either. So prairie was the original type of variety of plants that would be growing out here in the breadbasket of America. This very fertile soil that extends for hundreds of miles. I mean, this is some of the best land for growing crops and stuff. Some of it, I'm sure there's other large areas, but this is some of the best in the world. And not only that, and probably because of that, the University of Illinois is well known for its connection with agriculture, and they have a whole agricultural school as well as an arboretum, and so it makes sense that they would be connected. But yeah, this is just another type of terrain. We haven't seen this in any videos yet, so I figured this would be an opportunity to kind of talk about some of this stuff. Talk about as far as skill space is concerned, it's like be your guest. Like find a place. It doesn't really get as it's as open as possible, and the ground is pretty nice. I mean, as long as the stuff isn't wet, I think you're going to be pretty satisfied coming out here, finding a spot. Maybe you want to go under a tree or near a tree so you can get some shade on a day that you need shade. Today is like pretty much overcast, almost no direct sunlight. So direct rays anyway. And like many of these parks, they also have like a trail or in this case, like a concrete sidewalk. Sometimes it's gravel, and it basically it allows for like a bicycle to move through here, or someone to walk or rollerblade or skateboard through the park without really like getting into the grass, So it makes sense. So here is another view of the sidewalk. I call it a trail. I don't know. The path. I call it a path. Now this is over here. Now I'm not sure what's going on over here, because this is where it's kind of like, well, it's probably not original prairie grasses and prairie plants, but this is like closer to what it would have been like. And again, I don't know what this is. You've got these flowers out here. Do you want to skill out here? Well, this stuff it gets pretty thick. This like grass mulch. So I don't think you want that in your equipment. But it is pretty nice and beautiful just to see all these plants and flowers and stuff. When you get a second, the wind dies down. You can hear all the birds chirping and the insects making the noise, the chirps and stuff. So it's pretty nice. Now, so sometimes this reminds me that sometimes what this is about, and given like the terrain that I'm seeing here, this might kind of be like a low-lying area. And what they decided to do is they're like, you know what, we'll kind of have these plants. We'll plant some of them. We'll let some others grow. And we'll just kind of let this area get taken over by these plants. And they'll kind of drink up all the water down there. And that way we can have a little plant variety, plant life variety. And we can also, it kind of like, people tend to like not want to go stepping into this thing. So it kind of like, prevents people from getting into the damp area if that is the case. But I think that that might also be a case with this kind of scenario of these a variety of plants that I think some of them might be considered weeds in another context, but here it makes a nice assemblage with a tree to keep them company, and another tree. So as far as skill space, yeah, I mean, we just have so many options out here. And this is, a good thing, an easy thing to do is like wherever you are. You could use Google, you could use maps, you could ask your park district, you could find out about parks in general. And pretty much anywhere there's a park, that's going to be a good spot. As long as the weather is nice that day. Except I don't know what's going on with all this kind of this grassy mulch. I'm pretty sure they just mowed the lawn, mowed the grass recently. That's my guess. So that in, I don't know, maybe 2 weeks or so, all of that stuff would kind of be either blown away, or if it rains, it kind of like pats it down. And I think that this area it hasn't had some rain in a while. Not sure about that. Up north in Chicago, I know they could use some rain. things get dry. Oh, you know what? Looks like they have an explanation over here. All right, let's go take a look at the explanation. This plaque or this sign. I'm guessing it says something about the plant life in the area. Might as well take a moment, learn something. Seasons within the wetland, Champaign Park District, at Sunset Ridge Park. So this is considered wetland. The spring, the summer, the winter, and the fall. Spring, summer, fall, winter. Spring and summer and fall and winter. Then spring. I'm not going to read every word. I think you should be able to get most of it by pausing your screen. But yeah, so this is what ends up being wetland. And they talked mostly about, here's the flowers are in bloom in the summer. So look at the summer for the, I guess for all of it, but for the plant life, looks like summer is the season that they cover where we are now, which is where we are. This is summer. This is late July, 2026. So yeah, there's going to be less sort of plant life in the fall and in the winter, but the spring comes back. So I've also found this to be not unusual, is that when you have a park of this size, which is pretty large, I would say, medium large, it's like an XL, a large XL kind of thing. But when you have a park this size, sometimes you will find a hill that can be used for sledding. It could be used for just to add a little bit of sort of extra steps or extra elevation to your walk. So you may find something like this where you are. The other thing is it gives a nice view of the surrounding area.